Imagine a woman walking through a busy airport terminal. She isn't wearing anything particularly flashy. There are no loud logos, no neon accents, and no experimental silhouettes. Yet, as she passes, the frantic energy of the room seems to settle. People look up from their phones. They don't just glance. They linger. They aren't looking because she is loud. They are looking because she is coherent. There is a silent, mathematical harmony to her presence that makes everyone else feel a little bit cluttered. You've seen this person before. You've wondered why some people look like they've been professionally curated, while the rest of us just look like we've put on clothes. The difference isn't a designer label or a bigger budget. It's a specific, quiet logic that most people never bother to learn. Most people believe that to be noticed, you have to add something. More jewelry, more patterns, more trend-driven layers. But here is the truth. Elegance is almost always a process of subtraction, not addition. Most people don't realize that the human eye is constantly searching for patterns to decode. When we see too many colors, our brains label the image as nods and move on. When we see too few, we label it as invisible. But there is a sweet spot, a golden ratio of visual information that commands attention without demanding it. We are going to explore the three-color rule, a framework used by architects and master painters that has been quietly adopted by the world's most effortlessly stylish people. We will break down how to balance your visual weight, how to use color to direct where people look, and why the third element is the one that ultimately defines your identity. And the third one is the most important because without it, you aren't making a statement, you're just wearing a uniform. The first pillar of this logic is what we call the anchor. This is the foundation of your visual story. Imagine a canvas. Before the artist can paint a masterpiece, they must prepare the surface. In your wardrobe, the anchor is the dominant color that takes up about 60% of your silhouette. Usually, this is a neutral, a deep charcoal, a soft cream, or perhaps a rich navy. This color isn't meant to be the star of the show. Its job is to provide a sense of calm and stability. When you walk into a room, the anchor tells the observer's brain exactly where the boundaries of your presence begin and end. The mistake most people make here is choosing an anchor that is too loud. Try to make a bright red or a vibrant purple, they're 60%. While this can work in high-fashion photography, in real life, it often feels overwhelming. It's like a song that consists entirely of a drum solo. It's impressive for 10 seconds, but then it becomes exhausting. By choosing a grounded anchor, you give the eye a place to rest. This is why a classic trench coat or a perfectly tailored pair of trousers in a muted tone feels so powerful. It signals that you are comfortable in your own skin and that you don't need to scream to be heard. Here is where it gets interesting. Once you have your anchor, you need a partner for it. This brings us to the supporting tone. If the anchor is the canvas, the supporting tone is the sketch. The color should occupy about 30% of your look. Its role is to create depth and dimension. If your anchor is a dark forest green, your supporting tone might be a lighter sage or a crisp white. This secondary color breaks up the monotony. It adds a layer of sophistication that suggests you didn't just throw on the first thing you saw, but that you understand the relationship between light and shadow. Picture this. You are wearing a charcoal gray suit. That is your anchor. Now imagine you pair it with a light blue shirt. That blue is your supporting tone. It provides a soft contrast that draws the eye upward toward your face. Without that 30%, the gray would look heavy and flat. With it, the outfit begins to breathe. It creates a hierarchy of information. You are no longer just a shape. You are a person with a sense of deliberate intent. This is the stage where most people stop. They find two colors that work, and they feel safe. They look nice, they don't look memorable. And this is where most people get it wrong. They mistake safe for stylish. If you stop at two colors, you risk looking like you're wearing a uniform. You look like the waiter, pilot, or the corporate executive who has given up on self-expression. You have the structure, but you lack the soul. To truly make people look twice, you need the final piece of the puzzle. This leads us to the third and most vital element, the catalyst. This color only occupies about 10% of your visual space, but it carries 90% of the emotional weight. The catalyst is the spark. It's the gold watch, the silk pocket square, the unexpected texture of a leather belt, or a bold lip color. This is where your personality lives. The catalyst is the intentional disruption in your harmony. It's the detail that makes someone stop and say, "I see what you did there." The psychology of the catalyst is fascinating. Because it is a small percentage of the overall look, it doesn't overwhelm the eye. Instead, it acts as a focal point. Imagine a room that is entirely white and beige. Clean, but perhaps a bit sterile. Now imagine there is a single deep blue velvet chair in the corner. Where does your eye go? It goes to the chair. In the same way, the catalyst guides the observer's gaze. It tells them where to look. If you want people to focus on your face, your catalyst should be near your neckline. If you want to emphasize your movement, it might be in your shoes or a bag. A common mistake with the catalyst is being too timid. People often choose a color that is too close to their anchor or supporting tone, which causes it to disappear. If you're wearing navy and light blue, a slightly different shade of navy isn't a catalyst, it's just a mismatch. To make the three-color rule work, the catalyst must have enough contrast to stand on its own. It should feel like an exclamation point at the end of a very well-written sentence. Think about a classic cinematic character. They are often defined by one small, consistent color choice. It might be the way they always wear a touch of burgundy, or how their accessories are always a specific shade of brushed brass. This isn't just vanity. It's branding. It's creating a visual shorthand for who they are. When you master the catalyst, you stop dressing for the occasion and start dressing for your identity. You move from being a participant in the world to being a protagonist in your own story. However, there is a delicate balance to maintain. The three-color rule isn't just about the number 3. It's about the distribution of weight. If you try to give each color equal space, 33% each, you create a blocked look that feels juvenile and distracting. It looks like a flag rather than a wardrobe. The beauty of the 60-30-10 ratio is that it mimics the way we see the natural world. Look at a mountain range. You see this dark rock, the anchor, the white snow, the supporting tone, the bright blue of the sky, or the green of a lone pine tree, the catalyst. Nature never uses equal proportions, and neither should you. There is a certain quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've mastered this. When you walk out the door, you aren't wondering if your outfit works. You know it works because it follows a timeless logic. You feel more grounded. You speak with more authority. When you aren't worried about your appearance, you are free to be present. You aren't adjusting your sleeves or checking your reflection in every window. You are simply there, and people feel that. They feel the ease of someone who has nothing to prove and everything to show. Most of our lives are spent in a blur of noise. We are bombarded with fast fashion, changing trends, and the constant pressure to buy more. But true style is a form of self-respect. It's taking the time to understand the language of aesthetics so that you can communicate without saying a word. Three-color rule is a tool for clarity. It allows you to sift through the clutter of your closet and find the pieces that actually speak to one another. Imagine your morning routine changing from a frantic search for something that matches to a calm selection of 3 intentional tones. Pick your anchor based on your mood, perhaps a deep charcoal for a day of focus. You choose a supporting tone that adds light, a soft cream silk. Then, you pick your catalyst, a pair of vintage tortoise shell glasses or a deep emerald scarf. In 5 minutes, you have created a visual narrative that most people couldn't achieve in an hour. The transformation isn't just in how you look. It's in how you are perceived. When you follow this rule, people don't just see your clothes. They see you. The clothes become a frame for your personality. They see someone who is organized, someone who pays attention to detail, and someone who understands the power of subtlety. In a world that is constantly shouting, there is nothing more magnetic than a person who knows how to whisper. So the next time you are standing in front of your mirror, don't ask yourself what else you can add. Ask yourself what your 3 colors are. Identify your anchor, find your supporting tone, and then, most importantly, choose your catalyst with intention. Avoid the mistake of being too busy, and don't settle for being invisible. Find the balance that feels like home. True elegance isn't about being noticed. It's about being remembered. It's the lingering impression you leave behind after you've left the room. It's the twice in looking twice. The first look is for the clothes. The second look is for the person wearing them. When you master this simple 3-part harmony, you aren't just changing your outfit. You are changing the way the world interacts with you. Which of these 3 roles do you find the hardest to fill in your own wardrobe? Is it finding the right anchor, or do you struggle to pick a catalyst that feels like you? Let's talk about it in the comments. I read everyone because I'm fascinated by how we all use these visual tools to tell our own stories. If you found this perspective helpful, consider subscribing. We're building a community here for people who value depth over trend and who believe that how we present ourselves to the world is a vital part of who we are. Until next time, keep it simple, keep it intentional, and let your 3rd color speak for itself.